As the sun sets in downtown Portland, a new side of the fentanyl crisis rises.
It's going to be better at 5:30, it's going to be better at 6:30. It should just keep building, so.
Portland police officers from Central Precinct.
Appreciate y'all stepping up and being here.
Once again.
Did I miss something?
Gear up to face it.
Anyways.
They use this map to track where fentanyl users gather.
So we've got groups right now on most of these intersections.
A telltale sign that dealers are also there. On this night,
there's a big group at 13 and Yamhill right now.
Officer Eli Arnold is working undercover as a spotter.
I think I just caught a deal at the medical clinic right now.
The Portland Clinic, which will soon close this downtown location to patient care, due in part because of what Officer Arnold just saw. He tells his team to arrest 2 people he believes were selling fentanyl right outside the clinic lobby.
It's like a Hondo City, you know, it's Fetty Row.
This woman knows one of the dealers who just got caught.
He's not out here doing terrible things. He's just out here doing what he knows to do to survive.
She watches from across the street as officers search him.
You have to survive by the moment. And so whatever it takes to get that in that moment is what you're going to do.
Officer Arnold does whatever it takes to stop them. And that means hiding on the medical clinic's roof to watch from above.
I think this guy's dealing right here, maybe. Oh, we're looking for the crowd reacting to the arrival of a dealer.
It doesn't take much.
I'll just pair of cheap binoculars.
And knowing what to look for.
Spent a few thousand hours watching these spots like this over the last few years. You get pretty good at it. You're a few hundred dealers in. You'll see circulation. So like if there's a deal in the area, they'll pass through, especially the higher volume dealers, they'll sort of rapidly supply the group and then they just move. And they go on looking for the next. The faster they can sort of deal it out and move, the less their exposure, the quicker they make their money. This guy over here in black just accepted a knife from the guy with the red beanie. Go check this guy out. Another thing you'll see is stolen property being like offered for trade. And so sometimes you'll see dealers will be acquiring like clothing and stuff over the course of the night. So they'll have like a pair of jeans over a shoulder and shoes strung over another shoulder.
On some nights, Officer Arnold watches from the roof for 6 hours. And he's not just looking for drug deals.
2831, there appears to be an overdose occurring between Taylor and Yamhill on 13.
They have no remorse, the dealers.
That certainly doesn't seem like it.
A small crowd tries to revive the man curled up in gray.
Is there an ETA on the ambulance? Sounds like our ambulance is 10 blocks out.
Someone in the crowd gave the man Narcan, an overdose reversal drug, throwing him into instant withdrawal.
All right, cancel the bike. They already Narcaned him, and medical's coming.
The overdose pushed the crowd 2 blocks west near Lincoln High School in Providence Park. Before long, they're back.
This person in gray just bought some. I don't know who he got it from, but he's got it cupped in his hand right now. This guy's getting a needle out for him. All right, he's handing some out over there. The guy with the blue baseball cap just passed to both of these guys. He's showing it in his palm right there, blue baseball cap.
Officer Arnold watched the man in the blue baseball cap accept cash for fentanyl powder, enough proof to call in the bike squad waiting nearby.
The guy next to him, he provided drugs to, so you can stop that guy for PCS.
Back at police headquarters,
this is the other fentanyl that we found.
Officer Donald Matthew records the fentanyl and cash he seized during an arrest at Southwest 17th and Yamhill.
So there's a baggie there. There's another rock, a decent-sized rock right there. It's good, to get a bus like this,
It's why they're here, a mission that only ends.
Hey, what's up?
Once police have confiscated the dealer's drug supply for the night.
We got a good group of users out just waiting.
Blair Best.
Yeah, we're up here, ready.
KGW News.
Blair joins me now. Great story. What was that like for you?
So it was cool, right? It was cool to be a part of and to see from that perspective. But let's not forget, Portland police officers are doing missions like this, targeting drug dealers all the time, and they're constantly changing their tactics. They're arresting them on foot, on bikes, in patrol cars, and now on rooftops. So their response is always evolving.
And after they make an arrest, what do they do with the people?
So they bring them to Central Precinct and put them in holding cells. Officers, they didn't want us to show that part, but the space that all this happens in is a lot smaller than I anticipated. I was actually standing in front of one of the holding cells. I had no idea until one of the dealers started rattling the door behind me trying to get out. The dealers are also, they're very young. The two that were there at the time we were, they're just 17, 18 years old. So once they're brought to Central, they're interviewed, and police officers try to get them to admit that they knew they were selling fentanyl and that they know how dangerous the drug is. Because if they can admit those two things, they can add a reckless endangerment charge, which holds greater penalty down the road. Another interesting thing here is oftentimes after the interview, they're handed a court date and released. And that's why Officer Arnold tells us he sometimes sees the same dealer back out on the streets in the same shift.
There was one time where a high volume dealer doing this caught him, and I was still up in the spot, and he came back. Like, he got out of jail fast enough that he showed back up while I was still there. And you know, I've seen him multiple times since.
So the presiding judge here in Multnomah County actually recently changed those restrictions. So in certain drug cases, dealers cannot be released until they see a judge in court, but that's not the case for everybody.
And they're seeing a lot of drug users out there. Whatever happened to arresting drug users?
Yeah, I had that same question, and the answer is rather simple. They basically, if they were to stop every single user that they see, it would take the whole night, and they honestly don't have enough officers to do that. But it does beg the question, are they sending the wrong message by just passing these users who are blatantly using fentanyl and sending a message that it is still okay to use in downtown Portland?
I feel like what we found is most effective is get the dealers, dry up the supply. That also kind of ruins the spot for the users. And after we pick those dealers out, then we will just start generally applying more pressure, users and everybody, to really just send the message of like, this spot's you're too vulnerable selling or using here. And once we get to that stage, it does sort of just finish it off.
All right, so in that one night that we were there, Portland police officers, they seized more than 64 grams of fentanyl, 3 firearms, and more than $2,000 in cash.
Wow. What a great look into what it's like to take down a drug corner like that. Great stuff. Thanks, Blair. Great as always.